I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All 6 of them.
Who are you?
Tonight I present to you material of a violent nature.
Who else but crazy men would film their crimes?
I want to know who these guys are, and I want to know now.
They had a video camera, and I just wanted them to get out of here.
Rule of the hunt.
You want headlines? You want to be a celebrity? Shoot me!
15 minutes. Rated R. Starts Friday, March 9th.
Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, and this is a review for Albin, Patreon review. Thank you so much for that. If anyone wants to request any type of reviews for movies or something else, or re-reviews, topics, reactions, pretty much any type of videos, you just send your request either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for 15 minutes, and it's directed by a guy named John Herzfeld, and I knew that name sounded familiar because he would go on to direct Reach Me, more like a fucking reach around. No, a reach around you would enjoy. Sadly, that film I didn't. And Steve Plan 3, which you need for my Steve Plan to get the fuck away from those sequels. Or even the first Steve Plan, but especially the sequels. But he also did 2 Days in the Valley, which was interesting. Now you have this film, 15 minutes, and it tries to do this blend of a cop thriller and satire of the media. And for me, I could watch this as a time waster. It was okay. Robert De Niro and Edward Burns, I thought both did a good job in it. Chelsea Grammer as his anchor man, this reporter who's always trying to get the story however he can. It was fun to see Chelsea Grammer. The cast, I mean, you have bit roles by Charlize Theron and David Alan Grier, and I believe Kim Cattrall. I mean, like tiny roles. Like Kim Cattrall, you might even miss her, but she kind of works with Kelsey Grammer, but I didn't. You only see her like 2-3 times. David Alan Grier is a guy who tries to stab Edward Burns in a park, and then Edward Burns gets him handcuffed. Later on, tries to sue Edward Burns. But like I said, when it's the cop thriller aspect, when it's Edward Burns and Robert De Niro working together, some of the action bits involving the two, that worked fine. But the plot of the film is these two guys from Eastern Europe, they've come in, one of them, which I remember, he's the guy who is the Spetsnaz and Predators from 2010, who had the minigun. He was the guy that one of the Predators stabbed, and then he took out the grenades, and boom. And then the Russian Spetsnaz, that guy, Oleg, or I forget his name, I apologize. He really wants to be a director. He thinks of himself as Frank Capra, and he buys this handheld video camera. and he tapes everything. He's obsessed with it. And the other guy's sort of the kind of the leader of the two. And they want this money from this job. The guy doesn't have it. So then the one guy starts killing some people. There's a witness played by Vera Farmiga, who would be in the Conjuring films. She'd star in those. And it spends quite a bit of time with the villains. It's almost a movie that at times almost feels like you spend more with the villains than the heroes. At least in the first chunk of the film. I guess for me, it is trying to play into satire with the title, 15 Minutes, that everyone has their 15 minutes of fame, and the bad guys will watch, like, Roseanne's talk show, which I didn't even remember she had a fucking talk show. Roseanne had a talk show? That blew past me. I didn't know she had a fucking talk show. But about how you can film your crimes, but then you just say, play off insanity, and, oh, it wasn't me, it was my dad, it wasn't me, it was something else, it was the system. And really utilizing it so that when they get arrested, or if they get arrested, then maybe they get movie deals, and they'll be labeled as crazy. Just who would be crazy enough to film their own crimes? And that's kind of the satiric angle they're going with. As well as Kelsey Grammer and his team. There's a death of someone, and they buy it, and they put it for the public consumption. Granted, I would think they would get into a lot of fucking legal woes of showing a murder on TV. I'm just saying, I would think they would get a lot of shit for that. And probably fired. I would assume, maybe I'm wrong, but I would assume that would be the case. Again, I could be wrong on that. But I get what I was going with that, but I don't know, just the villains weren't really that interesting. I was more wanting to be with Robert De Niro and Edward Burns. Their motivations at times were not the most concrete, because they want to be known, but then they want to kill this witness, even though they're filming their own crimes. So I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, you're filming your own crimes. And the one guy doesn't seem into it, but he doesn't tell the guy to stop either. It's not like, shut the fucking camera down, or why are you recording us, or no, he's like, at one point he says, you don't erase that, right? And that's pretty much it. So he knows his buddy is recording stuff, but then they get so obsessed to kill this witness. And I'm like, I guess so that she might fuck up their insanity plea, or I guess. I'm guessing that's the case. But like I said, when it was Robert De Niro and Edward Burns, I like both actors. Robert De Niro, I like the idea that he's this cop. He's a cop that embraces reporters. He kind of embraces being a celebrity. And he's known as a celebrity cop. And he'll talk to reporters. And his girlfriend is a reporter. So pretty much the total opposite of his character in Showtime with Eddie Murphy. And then Edward Burns is a fire marshal. Because there's this thing that is looked at as arson, but then he's like, no, there's something more to it. But him being a fire marshal, you do get a good scene where him and Vera Farmiga are in this apartment, and this explosion happens, the whole thing's on fire. Fairly well done. Real fire, not CGI. And Edward Burns trying to figure out how to get out of the situation, and the right way to do it so that you don't make the flames even worse. And I like that whole action sequence where they gotta steep the fire. I did enjoy that. Some of the banter between Robert De Niro and Edward Burns, like Robert De Niro don't give him a ride, then he drives off a bit. Oh, you thought that was funny? Yeah. Or he gives them heads or tails. Heads, you lose. And then you kind of find out he's got a coin with 2 heads on it. But yeah, like I said, the top portion of the film, I liked. Even later on, when he's like, you want to be... Well, actually, I don't know if that's a spoiler. That's a big spoiler. I gotta go into spoilers, so starting now, as I stretch... Sorry about that. Maybe this would be the signal for spoilers! It's a spoiler! The big spoiler is it halfway through the film? Maybe an hour into the film. Our bad guys get Robert De Niro. And I would imagine this is a big surprise, to people, maybe even people who see it today, especially people who probably saw it back then. Robert De Niro, he's tied up to a chair, he's escaping, he's going to escape, but the bad guys stab him and kill him. And again, I would assume there were a lot of people like, oh shit, and didn't see that coming. Which is a bummer, because I like the two of them together. I would like to have seen more of the two of them together. At least I do like Edward Burns, so I'm not stuck with someone that I dislike, but again, that's when the movie went, okay. Oh, before I get to that, other recognizable people. I mentioned Charlize Theron. She plays a madame who, because an escort lady was killed, so the cops talk to her, and she has this. I'm like, is that Charlize Theron? Avery Brooks from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He's in there as Robert De Niro's partner, cop partner, and fucking Eddie Winslow, the guy who played Eddie Winslow, the son in Family Matters. He's in this as a cop. I'm like, that guy was so fucking familiar. Holy shit, it's Eddie Winslow. So I don't know why I find that funny. I guess because his father, Reginald Johnson on Family Matters, he played a cop in Die Hard. So now he plays a cop in this. So it's funny, like father, son on Family Matters, they each played a cop. So I don't know why that made me laugh. I didn't laugh, but I thought that was cool. That was interesting. So, you know, fathers each have a movie where they play a police officer. But yeah, the thing with the satiric notion, it's a bit heavy-handed. Maybe that's what it is. And like, there's a point where they've gotten one of the bad guys, and then Edward Burns takes him, and it seems like he's going to shoot him, and he gives this speech, come on, you want to make headlines? Be a celebrity? Shoot me. But then it led to nowhere. So it made it go, this scene was kind of pointless. Edward Burns gave a good performance in the scene, but nothing really happened in that sequence. But I guess it's really to lead us, his contemplation, he doesn't kill him, but then, you know, the next time that's not going to be the case. So maybe that's what it is, a precursor to the ending. But then by the end, the one guy's buddy fucks him over and says, no, it wasn't insanity, it was this going on. Really, when the two bad guys argue, it almost felt out of the blue. Like, technically they go, well, wait a minute, because you did this, because you did that. But it seemed like throughout the film, they were not having a lot of these head-butting arguments. And it seemed like right when they're about to succeed fully, because Kelsey Grammer buys from them the footage of Robert De Niro's death. And then they're going to show the death, and of course the cops were pissed off about that. And again, I'm thinking, I don't know how legal this is, or how Kelsey Grammer could still have a job by showing a real-life murder on TV. I mean, we censor fucking movies because they said fuck. Well, if that movie said fuck, censor that. But let's show a real life murder of a cop. I'm like, I don't know how that figures. Maybe I'm just naive on that. But they're sitting in a public place watching the stuff. And I'm going, why are they sitting in a public place? What do they expect would happen? I mean, the footage has their faces on it. They know it. They would know it before they gave the Kelsey Grammer. I guess they're just waiting to get caught. But you're in a public place. How do you know you won't have a random person just go or punch you or stab you when you're in this public place? I mean, a bunch of random people could try to take a shot at you. It seemed like something they would watch at home, and then if they want to turn themselves in, they could. But... And then they start arguing, I'm the director. And I'm like, where did this come from? Just all of a sudden now they're butting heads. It's like, well, shit, we need to do this because we need them to split apart because later on one's going to fuck over the other's insanity plea. I'm like, okay, it just felt a bit out of nowhere. I mean, maybe that's just me. And that's what I mean, but that portion, just this whole sort of, as boring, as cliche as it may be, I would have been more in tone with the typical cop thriller. If you have the thing where they're still shooting and recording their crimes, but more on De Niro and Edward Burns' banter, friendship growing, maybe get to know each other's personal lives, and then them teaming up against these two guys. Again, as cliche as that may be, I think that would have been a more satisfying film. So, try to think what else I could say about it. Again, good cast. The guys who play the villains, it's not really their acting that was a problem. It's just their characters. At times, I was trying to scratch my head as to their rationale. And then when they do explain it, I'm like, would that work? Would that work out? Again, and then their decision to be in a public place when I'm like, just certain things I just confused. Well, I wouldn't say I just confused, but I'm like, I don't know. So, as a time waster, like I said, it's not. I don't think it's a bad film. It's just not a film I would watch a lot. So, I definitely would watch this over the director's Reach Me and fucking Steve Plan 3. But I can see why this film was not that huge of a success when it came out. But, it's better than Righteous Kill with Robert De Niro, which was another cop movie. It's better than 88 Minutes, another thriller, which this has Al Pacino. So I'll put this above those. But, yeah, it was cool to see sort of a lot of these familiar faces. Wow, that's Charlize Theron. Wow, that's David Alan Grier from In Living Color TV show. Oh, well, is that Eddie Winslow? Holy shit. Vera Farmiga? Wow, this is very early in her career. She definitely got bigger roles as one of the stars of the Conjuring films. But, yeah, there you go. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.